And a short time ago, I spoke to Professor Simon Jackman. He's a political scientist at Stanford University, and he's also affiliated with the US Studies Centre in Sydney. Professor Jackman, there are two steps to this for Hillary Clinton. She firstly has to win the Democratic nomination, and then she has to win the presidency. So let's take both of those things separately. Firstly, is there any obstacle to her becoming the Democrat candidate?
None that anyone can see at this time. You've got to go a long, long way back to find a primary contest that's as one-sided as this one is. There's a sizable component, I think, in the Democratic Party that is ABH, anyone but Hillary, but a candidate just isn't coming forward at this point. And as far as the nomination is concerned, it's basically Hillary's at this point.
And then the race more broadly, once she's squaring up against a Republican, what are her chief weaknesses?
Oh, I think the Clinton legacy, frankly, that there's a bit of Clinton fatigue out there, that a lot of people aren't as enamored of her as people in the Democratic Party might be. And in particular, and this reflecting some of the polling I was doing and a lot of other people were doing back in 2008, among independents and Republicans, the idea that Hillary just isn't going to pull votes from those segments of the electorate as to the extent Barack Obama did in 2008. So there are some obstacles there in the general that are real, and we'll be talking about more, I guess, as we get closer to November of next year.
So what sort of candidate would Republicans consider to be the most effective opponent against Hillary Clinton, given what you say?
I think they've got to find a candidate that can appeal to the centre, and this is going to be the real strategic dilemma for Republicans. They're going to have a bruising primary season as they did last cycle, but then at the end of the day they've got to find someone that can appeal to the middle of the electorate, and I imagine someone from a big state too, that's going to really take one of those big states that has broken Democratic in the last couple of cycles and delivers that back to the Republican column. So if I were to take a wild stab in the dark, Jeb Bush and Florida makes an awful lot of sense on the Republican side of the ledger this far out.
When Hillary Clinton announced her candidacy today, she used the word champions repeatedly. Every day Americans are looking for a champion. I want to be their champion. What is the significance of that language and the pitch that she made?
Yeah, it was interesting. There was a lot about the announcement was interesting. That particular word, I think that's she wants to be the one that represents ordinary people going forward. I think that's the pitch she's going to be making. I have the runs on the board, the experience, the wisdom to deliver continued economic recovery in the United States and prosperity to the middle class. I think she was also, the imagery skewed young. I don't think that was a mistake either. I think she's, or an accident either. I think she's appealing to that big constituency that has helped Obama across the line in the last couple of cycles, minorities, younger people, a more progressive mindset, mindful of the first job she's got to do, and that's to win the Democratic primary. So I thought a lot of the language and a lot of the imagery in today's announcement was quite deliberate and very well thought out ahead of time.
How would you describe the mood among American voters currently?
Oh, tired. I think the idea we're this far out and we're starting to rev up again for an election that is still so far away, and set against the fact that we've got this gridlock in Washington and not a lot coming out of DC in terms of policy outcomes of consequence, of meaning for so many voters out there. The idea that we're starting to rev up for the 16 cycle, I think on one hand, a lot of people, the word fatigue comes to mind, frankly.
Simon Jackman, many thanks.
Thank you, Lee.